Hello, my name's Roger Watson and I'm the Editor-in-Chief of the Journal of Advanced Nursing, the editor of Nursing Open, and I'm an editorial board member of the Wiki Journal of Medicine. And in this session I want to talk to you briefly about an ethical issue. It's not plagiarism, it's not duplication, fabrication or falsification. It's another important area of publication ethics that's becoming increasingly important, and that's conflicts of interest and the declaration of conflicts of interest when you submit a manuscript. Now, a conflict of interest is anything which did or which may lead others to think that you've interpreted your data in a biased way, especially after you've reported it and published it, and especially if you didn't declare it. Now, there's really no end to potential conflicts of interest, but some of the main ones are the ones I'm going to cover here today, and the leading conflict of interest is financial. So, for example, you may well have been paid to test something, a product or a drug. I'm assuming that that didn't influence your decisions in any way, but you do have to declare that when you publish the paper. Now, there's nothing wrong with being paid to test products. It happens all the time, but you must declare it. It doesn't preclude you from doing the work, but I emphasize you must declare it. Because if somebody reads the work afterwards and sees that you've tested a product and you find a positive result in favour of that product or in favour of a drug, and then they find out that you were being paid to do it, they may well come to the wrong conclusion. So you have to be very, very careful. And indeed, it does happen. People do interpret things in a biased way and in the wrong way. So conflicts of interest declarations are one way in which you can protect yourself from criticism of that particular ethical misdemeanour. Of course, people may still fabricate and falsify results, but that's a different ethical problem. But I'm more concerned really to give you some examples of other kinds of conflicts of interest. As well as financial, or as well as direct financial gain from doing the work, you may well have shares in a company and you may well be doing some testing on behalf of that company. They may not be paying you directly to do the work, but you may have shares, and of course you will profit from those shares if the company makes a profit. So that's something else that you should most definitely declare. If you're doing work with colleagues in other universities, it's increasingly common to declare if you have any formal links with that university. For example, I am an editor-in-chief, but I'm also a visiting professor at other universities, and I often publish with colleagues there. And I declare that I am a visiting professor at that university. I don't want people to find that out afterwards. But you don't have to be an editor and a visitor or a collaborator in order to declare a conflict of interest. Even just having a visiting position there may well be a conflict of interest. It may be interpreted, for example, that you're going to another institution and that you're under some pressure to publish papers, and therefore you're publishing data and perhaps interpreting it in a way that's biased. So, quite simply, any formal links with an institution other than your own should, strictly speaking, be declared. Clearly, you don't have to declare conflicts of interest when you're publishing out of your own institution, because that's expected. Other conflicts of interest are personal and religious affiliations, which may, or may not, but may be interpreted as having biased you in your interpretation of results. A perfect example of this would be abortion, and the fact that people holding some religious beliefs are opposed to abortion, and other people are members of organisations that are pro-abortion. If you're doing research on abortion, then you should declare your interest. Naturally, your affiliations shouldn't bias your interpretation, but you don't want people to find this out afterwards. So religious and indeed political affiliations which may bias your interpretation of data should be declared. You may also want to declare personal relationships. For example, you may be personally related through marriage or through some other family relationship to someone you're working with in another university. That should also be declared if you think it's going to lead to a conflict of interest. Now, there's really almost no end to conflicts of interest, and I would urge you to take a look at the COPE website, the Committee on Publication Ethics website. I'd also urge you to take a look at the website for the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors, and they've got a very good section on conflicts of interest. Some journals, particularly from North America, are very formal regarding conflicts of interest and give you a considerable form to fill in, and it prompts you to make specific declarations. Other journals just expect you to state them. Either way, you should consider whether or not you do have any conflicts of interest and declare them. Make sure that you do. Don't do anything that might lead afterwards to someone having some suspicion that you've misinterpreted, either deliberately or by accident, your data due to a conflict of interest. I hope you found that useful. Thank you very much for listening.